The air hung thick with the scent of pine needles and wood smoke, a comforting blanket wrapping the circle of children huddled close on worn log benches above. A million stars pierced the velvet blackness of the night sky, mirroring the embers swirling upwards from the crackling campfire. This was the final night, the very last gathering after weeks of laughter, adventures, and shared secrets. Beneath the towering redwoods of whispering pines camp, a bittersweet stillness settled over the group, deeper than the usual campfire quiet, punctuated only by the fire's gentle sighs and the distant call of an owl. Faces, illuminated by the warm, dancing glow, looked expectantly towards old Mr. Finn, the camp storyteller whose voice had woven magic all summer long. His kind eyes held a special tenderness tonight, reflecting the flickering flames and the unspoken understanding that this story would be different. Mr. Finn shifted on his stump seat, the leather of his boots creaking softly. He gazed, not at the eager faces, but deep into the heart of the fire, as if searching for the beginning amidst the burning logs. Tonight, he began, his voice a low rumble like distant thunder, smooth and weathered like the ancient trees surrounding them. Isn't just our last story, it's the story of the last. He paused, letting the significance sink into the quiet night. Long ago, in a valley much like this one, nestled between mountains that touched the clouds, there lived a community bound not by blood, but by shared summers under the same sun and shared stories by the very same firelight. They were the keepers of the flame. He described their simple, joyful lives, days filled with tending gardens, swimming in icy streams, and nights spent sharing tales around their own sacred fire pit, a stone circle older than memory itself. Their fire, Mr. Finn continued, his voice dropping to a near whisper that drew the children closer, leaning in as one, was special. It wasn't just for warmth or cooking or even just for light against the dark. It was a living memory, every laugh shared beside it, every tear confessed near its warmth, every triumph celebrated under its glow. It became part of the flame. The sparks held their joys, the embers held their sorrows, and the bright, leaping flames held their courage. He described how generations had tended it, carefully adding seasoned wood, ensuring it never went cold. The fire was their heart, their shared history, a constant presence through births, growth, partings, and the inevitable changes time brought to their secluded valley. But seasons turn. Children, Mr. Finn said, a gentle melancholy coloring his words, looking around the circle, meeting each pair of wide, attentive eyes. The time came for the keepers to leave their beloved valley. New paths called them far away, over mountains and across wide rivers. Their hearts ached at the thought of abandoning their home, but the thought of letting their sacred flame die, letting all those memories turn to cold ash, was an unbearable sorrow. He described the hushed, tearful council held around the fire one final autumn evening. The wind carried the first chill of winter through the pines, mirroring the cold dread settling in their hearts. How could they carry the fire? How could they preserve the light that held their very souls? Then, Mr. Finn leaned forward, the firelight catching a glimmer in his eye. The eldest among them, a woman whose face was as lined and wise as the Vallea's oldest oak, spoke. Her voice, though frail, carried the strength of centuries. The flame needs the wood, true, she said, pointing a gnarled finger not at the logs, but at her own chest, then at each person gathered. But the light? The light needs only us. We carry the spark within. We are the embers now. He explained her plan. They would carefully bank the great fire, letting it settle into a deep bed of glowing coals. Each person, young and old, would then approach using a special, smooth stone warmed by generations of hands. They would scoop up a single, precious ember, placing it carefully into a small, tightly woven clay pot filled with sand. One ember for each heart. Mr. Finn murmured. A profound silence enveloped the campfire circle. Deeper than before, As Mr. Finn described the exodus, the keepers walked away from their valley at dawn, each carrying their small, warm clay pot close to their chest. They walked for days, weeks, he said, his voice painting pictures of arduous journeys over snow-dusted peaks and through shadowed forests. Sometimes the path was dark and frightening, sometimes the cold bit deep, but whenever despair threatened, whenever the night felt too vast, they would cup their hands around their little pots. The warmth, gentle but persistent, would seep into their fingers. They would remember the fire, they would remember the laughter, the shared meals, the comforting presence of their friends under the stars. That tiny ember wasn't just heat. It was the memory of home, the memory of each other. He described how that shared warmth, that shared memory, gave them strength to endure. Finally, Mr. Finn's gaze swept slowly, lovingly, around the circle of children illuminated by their campfires. Glow, they found their new homes, scattered far and wide. He said softly, but whenever one felt alone, or lost, or simply missed the valley, they would take out their ember pot, and sometimes, on certain clear, cold nights, if they looked up at the stars and thought very hard about their friends, they swore they could feel the faintest, warmest pulse from the ember within their pot. It was the echo of every other ember, carried in the hearts of their faraway family. The great fire was gone. Children. But the light? The real light of their shared summers, their laughter, their courage, their love? That never went out, it lived on, carried safely within, a warm glow to guide them. Always he fell silent, letting the crackle of their own fire fill the space, a living testament to his words. Tears glistened on cheeks, not just of sadness for the ending camp, but of understanding the fire before them might die to embers tonight, but the light of whispering pines, the friendships forged, the courage found, the joy shared, that warmth would forever glow within each heart gathered around the summer campfire's last story.